Hello and welcome, RCSchim in the hangar. Today I will talk about why I will send this thing back in a few days. First of all, because Amazon had this really long period of letting you send stuff back, which gave me the opportunity to test this camera and reconsider my buying decision. And I want to explain to you why. So this is the Insta360 1R, and you see how I use the product showcase of my new vlogging cam all the time. Sorry. I've seen a lot of reviews. This thing is out for a year. A lot of examples already on the net, and they make you so curious to test this thing yourself, and you think, it's the coolest tech gimmick. I want it. I need it in my life. The thing I try to answer today for you is, do you really need it? Will you use it that often, or is it just a thing that you play around once or twice and then it keeps settling dust, as it did for me? So I will give you a few examples and my experience or my thought about it, and then you can hopefully reconsider buying this or choose something else or see if you would really need this. Let's talk about the clever things Insta did with this camera. I mean, it's modular, you've already seen this. This is a battery bay. It's 33 grams. I've listed all the different weights in the description below. Weight is one of the issues for me. And this thing breaks down even further to like one core module. This is where the camera attaches to. It has a little screen, a touch screen. It has the CPU and the storage card in it. And this is, for example, the 360 module. You see it has two fisheye lenses and it has two flat connectors. This is the normal 4K module, which is like the Gopro then. It only has one connector on the bottom because it's just one module. You basically get this for free or for like $30–40. So you would always, if you buy it, you would buy it around $450 or something like this. So how does this work? You have two lenses back and forth with more than 180 degrees. Basically, it also stores two video files at the same time on the storage card. And the clever software stitches those two halves together. So you end up with a perfect sphere of your surroundings. And since it's overlapping, it can stitch out or remove the selfie stick. This thing is called the invisible selfie stick because it's thin enough to fit into this small overlapping area. If it sits like this, it can calculate this out, which is really fun because if you hold it far away, it seems like a third-person perspective, and you will see examples of this. So this perfect sphere around the Insta360 is combined with a really good gyro, which I think will be in here. And the gyro data always tells the software how the camera is oriented and counteracts this perfect sphere, this three-dimensional sphere. That sounds too complicated, but what you end up with is, no matter how you hold the 360 camera, the video will always look in one direction, unless you turn it in post-production. So post-production, there's a cool little editing studio, which is not too complicated. You can for sure find a lot of examples how it works. For me, it was like half an hour playing around with it, and I got it how it works. And you can also use your phone for this, but I'm not the phone play around guy. I would rather use my PC for this. You can view the video however you want. You can zoom in, zoom out, have the tiny planet or a zoom in version of your video. And if you then want to render a video, you basically make a lot of points where you tell the software, at this point in time you look at that direction, then you zoom out, you zoom in. So you give a lot of information into this little editor, and in the end you hit render and it saves you a new MP4 file. So you need a bit of processing power. You can do this on modern phones as well, but I think on the PC it will be faster, and for me editing with the mouse is easier. So the first example that I want to show you is actually my first 360 degree flight with my Sector 5. This thing here. This is a 6S copter, 5-inch, with enough juice, with enough power to lift some heavier things. Speaking about heavy, all in all, the 1R in 360 mode with the frame is 170 grams. That's quite hefty. That's really much. Flights on this first location, and of course it's awesome. And in post-production you see the possibilities. You see you can do a totally conventional drone video with it, which is just perfectly stabilized, but you can of course also zoom out quite far and have this tiny planet effect, or just see more of your own craft, and that looks just really funny. You will see it in this video. A flip or a roll, you can follow the flip, or you can actually, the camera perspective stays like focused and the copter flips around the camera, which looks totally weird. But the thing is, I played around with this for 2 or 3 flights and then it was boring to me. I didn't use it that much since then. So that's one of the main points. It's nice, but it's just toy. So I just had 2 or 3 flights in, what's it now, 3 months. If you're curious to see the raw footage, you can look those 2 individual files yourself. And as I did this, as I opened these files, I saw that this is really a sphere, not a rectangular view. So that made me thinking about their claim of resolution. And I will show you now an Excel sheet about this. This blue rectangle here is a typical 4K, which you get from a Gopro, which is 8.3 megapixels. The new GoPro 9 can also have a 5K mode, which is 5120 by 2880, which gives you already 14.7 megapixels, quite an increase. And here on the Insta360, 5760 by 2880, which is 16.6 megapixels, which sounds quite a lot. If you keep in mind that this 2880 by 2880, this square, it has around 20% of loss. You see, like the black corners here don't do us any good, so you can't count them for your sharpness. So you only have like 80% of this. So from the 16.5 megapixels, you only get like 13. And you see, these 13 are less than the 5K mode of GoPro 9. So that's just a comparison. Here you see how these 2 individual video files from the 2 lens modules look like. You have an overlap. On the very edge you see the shiny thing. Here's the cam itself, so it's more than 180 degrees, a bit more, and the software just stitches this together. And this leads me to the later point where I will tell you the resolution isn't high enough to zoom in much. So if you're just using the wide angle mode, it's okay, but if you zoom in a bit, it gets ugly fast. Next example, and that was something that I was very curious, is a jet chase thing. And as you see here, I'm kind of circling my friend here on the field. Circling thing is really easy. You don't have to be Mr. Steel to make a perfect circle around somebody. And then you can just fly around or fly behind the jet. And in post-production you can always center the thing that you chase, no matter where you looked, as long as you're close enough. And that's the main point about chasing stuff here, because it's such a wide angle that it records. You need to be really close, or else you zoom in and then it looks like crap. I mean, it goes down to 720p quite fast. Gives you awesome possibilities once again. Chase scenes never looked as cool as here, but I just wish it would be double the sharpness, which would lead to very large files and a lot of processing power needed on the cam, and that's maybe the limit. So if this thing had double the resolution, it would be cooler for chasing stuff. It's really fun, and the movements look sometimes funny, and especially here when he lands, you see the copter is a bit in the way, then I turn around. You see it also in the little DVR section. And then I can zoom in again. So it's really a lot of possibilities there, but it degrades sharpness too quick. That's the downside. Next example, hiking. Of course, I was curious to record some of our hiking sessions with the dogs. So we went up this really nice path to a rock called Falkenstein. And the funny thing is you can like mount the Insta on the selfie stick, put the selfie stick in your backpack, and then you have this nice third-person view. And yeah, you can just decide in post-production once again, do I look at this scenic mountain up there or in the other direction? And what I also loved is once we were up on the peak, you could look around in 360, you could even look above the abyss, and yeah, don't watch it if you have vertigo, it could be triggering you. I see these things more for the Instagram stories or for the, yeah, I'm hiking around and then I need to show it on Facebook, guys. So yeah, as I said, if you suffer from vertigo, stop watching it here or skip it to the next chapter mark. And now we come to the last section of examples of comparison here. I wanted to try out the 4K module because it is high resolution and it is sharp as hell. And I did 2 flights, flying approximately the same path on the Eichberg. Compared it to the old GoPro 7 with Hypersmooth, and I was baffled by how much more I liked the GoPro 7 video. Sad to say, maybe if you can have an ND filter on this, you can eliminate some of the jello, but yeah, jello was really the main issue for me. And I really forgot how good of a job GoPro does in eliminating jello and vibrations and stuff, and the video just looks awesome on GoPro. And even though the Insta was sharper here, it didn't look very pleasing and in the full frame, you see what I mean quite quickly. This is the perfect GoPro with kind of flat colors, but you can change this in post-production. And yeah, it's just so nice to watch. And this here is the really sharp, you see it on the branches of the trees, really sharp image of the 4K module of the Insta. But yeah, you see jello all over the place. Colors okay, a bit weird maybe, you can change this, but all together not a nice solution. So I wouldn't use this a lot. And I'm very curious. I now ordered the little Insta 4K SMO, what's it called? The 30-gram version, the naked Insta cam. Should get it soon. And it even comes as standard with an ND filter, so they noticed this looks shitty on drones. So I didn't find too much things that make me considering this as a good buy for $450. You could even, I think it's around the same price as a new GoPro 9. And in that case, I would definitely go with GoPro 9. See in my Excel comparison how the GoPro 9 with its 5-point-something K version has even higher resolution. But of course, if you're totally into 360 videos and you think you will do a lot of them, then go ahead and buy it. But I can tell you that it will be playing around with 360 modes a few times and then you throw it in the corner and don't use it anymore. Because if you not use the 360 mode, the other things, it's not as good as the GoPro. What about the 1-inch sensor module? There is a special module which is quite expensive that can have even higher resolution and better low light capabilities. Well, I watched a few reviews and it looks very nice, but I think even that doesn't compete with the GoPro 9 too well. So I'm not so sure. Sorry to say this, Insta, maybe next time. So that all being said, thanks a lot for watching. Sorry Amazon for sending you back this camera. Packaging was nice. Yeah, I almost forgot one important downside as well. There is also this little mic adapter, which is USB-C to headphone jack thingy. So I could use the Rode VideoMicro that I use right now, which is a perfect quality, for my taste, perfect quality microphone. But the quality is just shitty. They did something wrong. It's way too silent. It sounds just crappy. You have to crank up the volume all the way and then it's not good. So it's not a replacement for a vlogging thing. Whereas the thing that I'm recording this video on right now is the Sony ZV-1, and this is a perfect vlogging device. Way better than the action cams. And it has this 1.8 aperture, which makes for nice and shallow depths of field. And it has autofocus that is actually working, which I'm so proud of you. But it shakes like crazy. I didn't have the stabilizer on. Sorry about the shake. So yeah, sound on the thing is also crappy. Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you liked it. Check out my description. I have a ton of information there and the script that I wrote for this video, which I didn't use ultimately. The weights and the information and also the link to the Excel file. Check out my Patreon Patreon page up there. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.